Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We are two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, honey, which can be, it can be a rather salty lens. It can be something with like a little heat in it. It can be an incredibly creamy lens. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. It sounded gross when I said it, and I wasn't happy about it either, Wa.
Hi. So we are talking about 90 Day Fiancé Love in Paradise, Season 3, Episode 11. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign.
Yeah, but it's not opening up any of their eyes, Wa. It's like they're seeing signs and then they're closing their eyes and running right at the sign with their head first.
Jeez
Like
Louises. Yes.
so. That's but yeah, it was such a good song. Like it was just a bop, right? I saw a sign. Is it like da na 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 na? Is that like a? There must be like a little bit of a funky groove to that, like because it was na 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 bum bum. Nah, nah, nah,
I
nah,
got a
nah.
new name.
Yeah. What is this kind of music? Is like, what is this kind of beat?
Who
Groove?
is an acting song? I don't know. It's like it gives. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know enough. I wish I knew more about music theory in that way, where I could like isolate things like, oh, it's got,
It's giving
obviously I
me a
can't.
reggae beat, a little bit of reggae, but it's also got like
Yes.
feels like wooden wind instruments as well. So pop,
Anyway,
Swedish pop.
here's the thing, there's a YouTube video where they do the exact thing where they go into that music and like, maybe I will. That'd be a great YouTube dive. But we are talking about 90 Day Fiancé. We're lipping it up. It is Love in Paradise, and it's been a really good season, and it's almost done.
Yeah, we only I think one more episode after this one.
Yeah.
Episode 12 and the season finale. I will say that this was not a good season of lip.
No.
It was bad compared to the other seasons of it. And
yeah,
unfortunately, yeah. I mean, the first two seasons really got my heart. Yeah. So anyways, we have Jordan and Everton gets his hair redone at some point between his mother's house and going to the new place that they went to. And I wanted to know more about that experience. Did Jordan do it? Who knows?
No.
So they start off at Everton's mother's home, and they're packing to leave the mom's house. And there is an awkward goodbye to the mother who doesn't know how to show emotion. It is like a very indicative of her. I don't know. She's an early boomer. She looks older than my parents. So
she feels God bless, she feels up there. Yeah, and half of me looks at this woman, I'm like, yeah, like it doesn't feel like she's capable of too much of anything, in a sense of like, I don't, she can't get up and hug someone. I don't even think she can, like, she can, when she doesn't talk that much, in my mind, I'm like, she's too tired. So like, even to see her, like what she's doing. So anyway, yeah, Jordan comes over. And as we've said for previous episodes, both Juan and I were incredibly impressed and admire the way that Jordan has traversed being around Everton's family in like, their home, and treating them in a by the way a completely normal way. Like I like Jordan a lot, but I am giving this to her, but it also isn't like Jordan. The way that Jordan acted is the way that most people should act, and it's just in comparison to really horrible treatment we've seen from Americans like in people's homes, that I'm like, oh, thank God someone that doesn't like embarrass us. You know what I'm saying? So Jordan, of course, is coming over to the mom, and she's very like, thank you so much, Mom, for having us here, and thank you so much for cooking. And by the way, the mom is like scraping and maybe walking and say, it looks like she's, she's in the moment cooking. Okay. She's like, looks like grating the biggest piece of ginger of your life, or like, like she's
either grating cassava or she's grating coconut. I think it's most likely cassava or some kind of root, some kind of yucca or something like that. Yeah, so she's grating that to make something, and we know this is a home that doesn't have running water.
Yes,
she's outside just like doing for herself, living by her lonesome on the top of this steep hill. And Everton tries to say goodbye, I love you, mom, and she is unable to hug. It's like weird too, because my dad is kind of weird too. Like he doesn't hug on. He half hugs me. He side hugs me. Um, and like I have to make him, and it's just indicative. I don't think they got hugs from their parents,
Yeah.
so they don't know how to hug. They only know how to hug children. Like my dad will hug a baby, hug a kid, but like hugging an adult, he's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I get that. So it's an awkward leave, and they go down this very steep hill, and they go somewhere, which I don't know where they're going because this is not the final destination. They stop somewhere, and then they have a row, and then they drive to Kingston. So.
Oh, I thought they had the row in the car.
Oh yeah, you're right. They did. Oh, you know what? They stopped wherever the friend was. That's where they
Yeah.
stopped. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
No, let's go to like what feels like a local hangout, like drinks, food. They're playing dominoes. And, Jordan is accustomed to the culture. She's like, yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not saying that she, again, is like probably giving her like Messiah style things. I'm like, oh my God, thank God she knows she's just going to be here. But then she doesn't do what she should do. But it's a weird situation. Let me tell you why. Because it's like, okay, yes. Everton is there with his friend. His friend is named, I want to say Sheldon or Shelton or something like that. They're playing dominoes, and they're drinking and they're eating. Now I want to know what they're eating. I'm not quite sure. It looks like little pieces of, I don't know, like tofu, but it's not that. I mean, I know, but still, I can't tell. So then suddenly, first of all, Everton is a horrible actor, and we've had to see him act a couple of times. Just to jump back when she's packing before they leave the mom's house, literally Everton has an opening line like, oh, hi, Jordan. How are you today? And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, get me out of this. But then Everton during this domino game is like, oh, I got a business call. And it's like, okay. So then he gets up and has a business call. And during that time, Jordan's like, hey, Sheldon. Hey. So, hey, remember that like voicemail? Remember that voicemail that I got? Sheldon is like, uh-huh. And she's like, just do you know who that person is? And Sheldon is like, do I know who she is? I was just like, how do I answer this question? Yes. He is like, it feels like he took truth serum in that moment, and he is fighting like liar, liar, like Jim Carrey. He is fighting the urge to tell the truth. He cannot not. He cannot not. And he knows he's going to like snitch on his brother. Sorry, his friend. Who I don't know who he might. Be like, why? How much? This
gay
is a
lover,
great scene.
He's gonna snitch on his gay lover, his boo Everton. Yeah, no, it is a great scene because it's so fake. And she's like, "Tell me more. You know about her, right?" And he's like, I knew something of her. And did he give her money? I can't say that he did give her, but a little bit of money.
He's like, I saw the Western Union.
Yes.
Like, why did you have to say that?
I saw $100, una little. And I was just like, damn, he must be closer friends with Jordan than we think. He must feel like Jordan is a good friend too. That he can't just lie because they hung out a lot of times in Cayman Island together. And so the whole time that Everton is on this business call, I feel like it is because otherwise producers would have just told us what it was if it was like the girl or something like that, right? Because he still has his mic on, and then his best friend is just telling all of the business, right? And Jordan sees Everton coming towards them, and she doesn't even try to derail the conversation, do what you girls do. It's like, oh my God, isn't that so crazy? So what about the shoes I'm wearing? She doesn't pivot. She allows Everton to sneak up on his friend, scare the bejeebas out of him as he's giving out the information. And and then she has to just sit back and pretend like she just didn't hear that man had Western Union somebody $100. Also, Western Union? Why Western Union? Couldn't you just like I don't understand. Yeah, no, not Venmo. Not
Cash
Venmo.
App. Yeah, no, I don't know it.
Why could you just like go to the bank? I don't know. It's like, is that person not live in the same island as you? Why are you Western Unioning them?
Oh, great point.
Yeah, Western Union is the easiest from the US to whatever country. Yeah.
So you're saying the girl didn't live in Jamaica.
Yeah, she must not, or she didn't live wherever Everton was because he Western Unioned her money. Like
Yeah.
that's what you do from country to country.
Yeah. So basically, she now gets in the car with, Everton, and she lays into him everything.
Hmm.
She's just like, well, this basically, she's like, did you give him her money? And he's like, no, no. Well, not like that, because she knows he gave him $100.
Yeah.
And so because he doesn't like initially say yes, and because of all the other things, not wanting to marry her and being whatever, also from what we said before, Jordan has given Everton money.
Hmm.
In fact, a large sum of money from which he also needs that now for his business.
Hmm.
And so it is not just a business relationship, it's a personal relationship. And it's been messy
Hmm.
because she thinks that that's the same relationship. And he's like, no, we're going to be business partners and I might marry you.
Yeah.
Like it's always been really horrible. Now, it's the same thing as Ellie and Victor, where like we want to be like, Jordan, get the fuck out. Come on,
Hmm.
girl. No, he's not bending. He's not trying to impress you.
Hmm.
I just hate to say this. It's just like, I do feel like you can tell when men don't feel like they have to impress the women that they're with. And when that's happening, it's never good. It's just not,
Hmm.
it's not going to be good for the female, because then the man feels like they have nothing that they have to prove, and then they can start to take advantage of the female.
I mean, but don't you think somewhere in there should be love and respect? Like, I just that's
Oh
my
yeah,
thing is that like it's not about I it's not
it's
about
all of it.
it's not it's all of it. Like, but the impressing part, I'm like, does he need to impress somebody who he supposedly loves? No, but he should want to respect her and he should want to honor her portion, a part of doing whatever she has done for him in his life to help him, whatever
Yes.
that is. And so it just is annoying. So they get up the next morning, she's packing, he comes in and she's like, I'm not in a good mood, you've been warned. They get into the car on the way to Kingston because she's leaving in the morning, and and she's like, you gave that woman money, and he's like, that's when he's like kind of denying it or whatever. And then she's like yelling, and he's like, I don't think it's appropriate for you to be yelling at me. He doesn't say that, but he's like, basically, I'm a grown-ass man, you
Yeah.
don't yell at me, and I'm really rethinking about giving you this ring. And I'm like, this is the same conversation, Chris. You are no longer a grown-ass man, because a grown-ass man doesn't take money from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you stop saying that. You've lost that ability,
Yes.
because she helped you out during the pandemic, and she's gone in her confessionals and lied to us and said that this girl has skipped meals to give him money, which is like crazy because that didn't happen. But like like, it's just crazy that he would then be so cavalier about it. And that's
Yep.
sometimes the awkward thing when you're dealing with folks who don't understand how money works in the US. They just think we have a fountain of it, and everybody goes to work and comes home with $1,000 every day, and we have all this money to do all this stuff. And it's like, no, we do have an opportunity to make money, yes, better than some folks in other countries, yes, but however, everything in our country costs more. We can't just we rent every single month, mortgage every single month. Like, there are people who live well, and those are none of the people on 90 Day Fiance. Like, like
Yeah.
Jordan does well, but not good enough to give you money so that you can give a few dollars to someone else who gave you a few dollars a few weeks ago. Like, no, not of Jordan's money. You can give her a few dollars when you get a job, but don't give her, so it's just
Yeah.
it's just interesting how he pivots to like, I'm a grown man, don't yell at me.
Yeah. So it's depressing to say the least. But
Yeah.
want to move on?
Yeah. Carlos and Valentine, y'all. This was a crazy ass scene where I think that each person just, I don't know. What did you think?
Fake. I think this whole thing is fake. I think they're together. They just needed to have something happen. And I mean, yeah, like I can't, I think it's just really just been so fucking boring. This whole time it's been so boring between them. I can't even. So, but I'll just tell you basically, Carlos, Valentine gets texts Carlos and is like, I have some stuff. We bring it to me. So then they meet in some park, and it's incredibly awkward where Valentine is sitting and Carlos comes up. He has like a French tuck happening. He brings his stuff. Carlos doesn't sit down. Valentine doesn't stand up. And Carlos goes into a monologue, a robot monologue of like, well, thank you so much for all of the time that we had together and I wish you the best. And Valentine's like, okay. I was just like, wow, I couldn't, you have made such a boring season and you're not going to give me, I mean, I literally was just like, I couldn't even watch it. I have like, I'm actually
Yeah.
going to, I'll let you talk.
Yeah. You know what it was? It was just frustrating that Carlos didn't sit down. I didn't even think about Valentine having to stand up, because the truth is, like, Carlos could just sit next to him and been like, "I love you, babe," and hug you and do all this. It just was so cold. He had this dumb monologue, and then he walks away feeling like Valentine didn't give him any energy and was just like stone faced. And how can someone be so stone faced? And the energy you have on the outside is what you feel on the inside, which is like, who said that? And that's not true. And then I and then Valentine is like, well, Carlos didn't apologize to me. And the truth is, I'm kind of on Valentine's side. Like, I think the fact that Carlos didn't sit down, the fact that he didn't, like, even say like anything about Michelle, and the fact that he chose the relationship over Valentine is just crazy. So Valentine ends up walking away being like, I got to move on. I'm not going to be this hot forever. And I got to, get my life together. But, I've always given and put Carlos first, but Carlos won't put me first. And I have to say, I agree. I think that, maybe it wasn't about Michelle coming to the wedding. Maybe it was about other things that had happened along the way. But for this to be the hill to die on, it feels like Carlos is the one who made the choice to be upset because someone couldn't come to their happy union. He wouldn't put his feelings aside for his own to be intended. So the next scene is we have, instead of the wedding, Carlos and his family go have a day at the beach, which feels really set up and it feels like oddly perfect with the canopies and everything, and his family around him saying he loves him and they love him. And then we have this really beautiful shot of Carlos like pensive on the beach with the sunset going down behind him, sitting on a boat. And it was just like beautiful. I was like, this is a really great scene to have in your life. Like, could you imagine telling the producers to give you that footage so that you could do whatever it is, what you will? It was great. So Valentine just goes back to California. It's just like a really, sad situation all around. So I don't know if we should wait for Chris so that she can say what she feels about it, but she said it was boring, so we can move on. Let's move on to Anna and Matthew. But I'll wait for her to come back. What do we think of Anna and Matthew, you guys? It's so boring to me. It is so boring to me. It is boring. So she starts talking about how she's a Leo and, other things that I'm just like, oh God. Like, having gone into astrology to a certain extent, I had my chart read because I know the date of the time of my birth, because my mother, thank God, put it in my baby book. So it's really it's just more than just your sun sign. It's more about your moon sign and your rising. Like, there's a lot going on with just being who you are. So your sun sign is not the sign that usually, I love when people are like, oh, I'm a Gemini, and I'm like, that's only one layer to the full story. And so she's talking about how she loves beauty and she loves Matthew's whole body and she thinks it's hot. Now, I think that people who are in love can look through rose-colored glasses for sure, right? And I'm not saying that she doesn't think his body is hot, but objectively, is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who may not have the best body, but I'm like, ooh, I love that body. It's mine. I like being, but I'm never going to be like, he has a hot body. Objectively, it could be not true. So then he's doing something. It's their last night together. He lights some candles and she comes out of the bedroom in some kind of bondage lingerie. I mean, I, for a second there, thought she was going to come out with something like silky. It could be black, and but this was like dominatrix. This is like the step one of like, I want to tie you up. It was so weird. It absolutely was that. So she's like, I want to tie you up, and he's like, oh, and she's like, I want to give you, I'm going to give you a massage, and so she gives him a massage, and I just, it's a lot of lacy things, and first of all, I thought for him to be so possessive over her, how come he's not upset that she has done this, um, with all the camera crew like in the room? It feels like it would be aligned with his being, I don't know, weird with the camera crew. So the next morning they go to I'm so tired, sorry. The next morning they go to the airport, and she's like, oh, I want you to put me in your luggage, and he does. No, he doesn't. They hug, and it's a very tearful. And the way he describes it, he's like, you know what? It's very important when I come here, because it's a lot of saving, it's a lot of planning, it's a lot of budgeting. And so I'm so grateful to have had this time with her, but it's not easy to have these times with her. So I'm grateful to have had this experience. But we're gonna let Chris talk about her opinions when she jumps in.
Hi.
Hi. So I just talked about Anna and Matthew.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let me just say that, I think that we've gone back and forth whether, Matthew is in over his head with this situation. And of course the answer is yes. And they can't possibly survive, and I can't imagine she'll ever come to America with him, but I think she's going to get to America. That's what I'm going to say at first. His taste in clothes this entire season has been banana-ramas. Did you talk about the shirt that he was wearing?
No, I left that to you.
Okay. So in the scene, which is supposed to be their like nighttime sex scene, okay, he is wearing a lace tied up asymmetrical. I can't say this word, Wah.
Oh, asymmetrical.
Okay, I didn't mean to blame you personally.
Oh yeah, it felt like I didn't make him face. I wasn't making fun of you.
It's just that I know I can't say before I even try and say it, and I'm mad at myself. Asymmetrical. He's wearing an asymmetrical lace tied shirt off to one side of his neck. And it's because he wants to radiate like a kind of badass vibe. Like in all of his like pictures, he in his mind he wants to be a badass so bad. Like it's so funny, and his entire demeanor and personality is the most beta kind of wanny kind of person. So it's just very funny, like it's interesting and very funny. Now, on her side, she says the following things. She's a Leo. So she's into beauty, loves beauty, loves Matthew, thinks that he's the hottest, loves his body.
Yeah.
And thinks that he's hot is what she says in like, she almost like an Uzi. She like gets all of those out in like one thing. And each one's like, what? No. Who? Wait, which time? What? She's also gonna now come out in bondage lingerie where she looks bananas gorgeous in a way that's like she wants to be a sub. And I'm like, okay. Is there a secret kink where he is incredibly dominant and turns it on in a way that none of us have ever seen or known, but it happens? Because in my mind, I'm like, how does this even go? They start kissing. She's in a sub costume. He's wearing that cotton shirt. Like, is he about to throw down? And that is what I just want to ask you all.
No, I clocked it as she was some kind of dominatrix, and she was like a baby dominatrix, and she was going to throw him around. That is what I said. Yeah, like I mean, listen, there are a bunch of beta males running around here who could, are that, but I don't think that that is Matthew. I don't think that that is. I mean, I don't have any belief that that is that. And also, like, I mean, it is he. This is also what I said, that I know when you're in love, you think the person that you're with is incredibly hot and lovely and all those things. But there's also like your personal opinion about their body and the subjective truth. And the truth is that he doesn't have a hot body. So hot is not the word, okay? You could say many things to describe it, but hot, we've all universally decided that hot means a very specific thing, and that is not Matthew.
I think Matthew would actually just look better if he looked healthier. And Matthew, to me, does not look healthy. Like, just doesn't radiate health. And I'm not saying, oh, Matthew's a little skinny and that's why. Like, that's
Mm-mm,
not true at all.
mm-mm,
Definitely skinny men can radiate health. Like, are you kidding me? Definitely bigger men. I'm saying, like, in his eyes and the way
mm-hmm,
his face looks, there's
mm-hmm.
nothing he seems to,
Tired. Mm-hmm,
yeah, like he just doesn't look healthy, and
mm-hmm,
that's why he doesn't look attractive to me. I think he looks, yeah,
mm-hmm.
so also let me also say this, maybe he's not healthy, because in the next morning I think I do clock like a scar down his like chest in a heart style way, so maybe there's something we don't know about, and
Mm.
God bless. So now we're gonna have their airport goodbye, which is teary. I don't know what to tell you. I like was bored by it. I can tell
Oh
you a
my
lot of
god,
tears
it
happened,
was
but
so much.
I just kind of was just like, I don't care about it. Just there were tears. Well,
Yeah. Yes. All right. Let's move on to Scott and
oh
Lise.
my
Not
god.
Lydia. Scott and Lise. He loves an Li. Okay. So it is they are in a car. They're leaving the hotel.
Yeah.
He's checking out. They get into
Hmm.
this car in which he has hung every single one of his shirts up in this van, and I don't understand why he doesn't put it in his luggage. Like, you flew here with it in a thing, but like you are like, no, I've already had the people press them, so now they're just all gonna just go in to this van, and we're gonna drive to this new resort, and it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, garment bags are necessary, like you could just all put in a garment bag or whatever. But yeah, maybe he got it all pressed because he's like, Scott 2.0, honey, coming back, making sure I'm looking good. So
Yep. Yep.
in the car though, he starts to unravel,
Mm-hmm.
where he comes off, and listen, he starts to come off as being crazy, desperate, demanding, like he has been having problems with Lise, where like he already started doing this shit and she would take a step back. So he in the car is like, I love you so much, just like, just like can't wait for like us to be together, and just like so happy, like, and you start to see her face like, uh what did I do? No. But like, she's in this. So they get there, and they get to the room, and he booked, a room with its own pool, and at first she's like, it's great, but she has already like let us know, like in a Jim from the Office style way, in her face, that like she's been uncomfortable. And I think that she just, with the cameras, I think that she just like loses her mind. I think she's just like, why'd I get myself here? How'd I get myself here? This man's crazy. I can't stay here. I can't be in a room with him. I can't share a bed with him. He's a big guy, to have that big kind of like kind of like Scott in your face of wanting to be with you. If you are not into it, I'm sure it's really overwhelming, which is a word that she uses. Basically, she bounces, and we pick up with a Scott kind of like, I don't know what happened. She just like freaked out. Right?
Yeah, I like was watching it and I rolled over in my bed and stretched, and then I turned back and it's like Liz is gone, and I was like, what the hell just happened? So he was like crazy. Yeah, I think that she should have remembered why she stopped talking to him in the first place, and it was a mistake just to come and say she was gonna win her man back, and then her man fully is into her, and she's fully not into him. And she's like, let's just calm down, because he's like, would you come with me to America? And I think to myself, this is someone who doesn't have her own words, because the truth is, all she had to say was, no, I'm not gonna come with you to America. And everything that you talk about the future with us, and you keep telling me that you love me, is making me feel awkward. So just chill. She couldn't say that, and so this is why she found herself in the situation that she was in. I'm glad that she had the resources to get out of it. And I'm glad that he at the end of the day respected it, because in the beginning he didn't. He was like, talk to me, talk to me. She's like, no, I need space. He's like, I understand you need space, but talk to me. She's like, no, I don't want that.
Right.
I don't want that. And like, you know, it is just her not being able to use her words. And listen, I don't want to put that on her, because I know I'm a different type of person, and I'm a person who can use my words, and some people can't use their words, and so blah blah blah. But I'm glad that she got out of it.
Yeah, she doesn't speak, I feel like, English she does speak, but it's obviously like it's he's so, I can see her being overwhelmed. And especially with that kind of like I don't know. I felt bad for her, and I was happy the cameras were there also.
Oh,
I was.
all right. I see it.
Um
All right, you
all
guys.
right, my
Well,
loves.
that's end of this for us. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. And we will, keep rocking and rolling and get you all the stuff that you need, Patreon. But that's it for us. Bye.
Bye.